On this episode of Internet Business Mastery, we have an answer to a listener's question about what to do when your site gets too popular. And in the quick tip, we share with you an easy way to speed up your internet downloads by up to 2 times or more.
Welcome to InternetBusinessMastery.com, where you will learn to take control, make more money, and start an internet business today. Here are your hosts, Sterling and Jay.
Hey everyone, I'm Sterling.
And I'm Jay.
And you're listening to the podcast that is dedicated to helping you create true financial freedom with your own internet business. You can get started today with exclusive content not available on the podcast by visiting freevideogift.com. So Jay, what's been going on? It's been a while, I think, since we put out an episode.
Yeah, we had a couple special videos we put out on the feed there, some success stories and some other webinar training and stuff. So now we're back to the regular episodes. And of course, that was all part of our anniversary celebration. We're going on 6 years here that we've been doing Internet Business Mastery, which is pretty darn wild to think about. Who knew?
Yeah, wow.
Who knew that we'd still be here 6 years later? And
nice.
For better or worse, we're here still.
Yeah, we're still here.
But yeah, as part of that anniversary, it's exciting to see the successful launch of our Coaching Lab 101 program. Definitely a lot of people were very excited jumping on board with that. And we had a great call with them last night, a training call, talking about some of our latest frameworks for marketing your business and reaching out to your audience and finding out what they really want. So I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. How about you?
Yeah, I love it. It's always fun to see people get so excited about things that you might take a little bit for granted because you've been doing it for so long. It's awesome to be able to give those extra tips and even just stuff that we're working on right now. Like I know everybody got really excited when I said that I was able to find out how to make money within 2 hours of doing one thing. So that was something that people seem to really get excited over. So love doing the coaching course stuff.
Yeah, when you started mentioning $1,000 Twitter paydays, all of a sudden the questions started coming in like, what do you mean? What did you do?
Look what's in store for you. Yes.
You really kicked the beehive there, and they all got really excited. That was awesome. All right, well, we got a great question from a listener to answer today, so let's go ahead and jump into the feature segment.
And now, the feature segment.
So today's discussion is a response to the following call that came in from one of our listeners, Ben Greenfield. Let's go ahead and give that a listen.
Hi, Sterling and Jay. This is Ben Greenfield from bengreenfieldfitness.com. And I have a question for you because of a problem that you've helped create for me. My site gives out free fitness and nutrition advice, which is fantastic, but the issue is I have too many visitors to my site. Now, of course, that's because I've been implementing a lot of the techniques that I've learned from you guys on the Internet Business Mastery podcasts. But ultimately, my host is telling me that my site is being throttled because too many people are accessing the information I'm putting out. So my question for you is, in a situation like this, do you recommend moving to a dedicated host? And if so, do you actually have recommendations for specific providers of a dedicated hosting service? If there's some other step that you'd recommend that I take other than switching to a dedicated host, I'd be happy to hear your suggestions. Thanks, guys, for all that you do, and I look forward to hearing your solution to my problem.
Well, that is a great question, Ben. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
That's one problem I'm happy to have caused.
Well, and we've actually had that problem as well. And it's a funny thing
true.
because you feel a little both ways about it, right? Like we're like, oh no, we're kind of in trouble.
Right. What did I do
They're going to
wrong?
suspend our account because we're getting too much traffic. And then you're like, wait a minute, this is a really high-end choice problem.
Right. Of all the problems to have. Yeah, we had no idea what to expect when we started Internet Business Mastery. I remember getting email a few months into it going, you're getting too much download traffic from your site. You're going to have to do something about that. And we solved it really quickly. And we'll talk about how to solve that right here on this episode today. But I guess maybe the thing to start out with is kind of, well, when do you know it's time to switch over to that you got it. It's like, okay, time to make a change because we've got problems here. And clearly one of those times is when the host is sending you an email and saying, yeah, we're going to suspend your account if you don't reduce the amount of resources that you're taking up. And, maybe this is a good spot just to explain briefly, and forgive me for getting just, a little bit into the details, but I think it's a good thing to understand. And that is that there's shared hosting out there and there's dedicated hosting. And, the vast majority of plans that you see for like the, $10 or less a month are shared hosting programs. And what that means is, there's a server, which is just a big fancy computer in some, facility somewhere, and it's running a whole bunch of sites on one computer. And depending on the host, they could jam a whole lot of sites in there. And so the reason why it becomes a problem when your site starts getting lots and lots of traffic is it's taking up more resources on that server, and the other sites might even slow down as well, or they can't get as much traffic in and out. And so when you get to that point, they want you to upgrade to something that's more dedicated where, okay, now you've got a certain amount of transfer in and out of your site and resources on so it's a server just for your, just for your site on its own. And the reason why, we recommend and have you start out on shared hosting is, it's an economical way to start. It's really very easy way to start. It takes it's a little bit technically easier. And so that's what we recommend, because for most businesses just starting out, that's the right place to go. There's no need to go and spend, $25, $50 or $100+ a month on a dedicated solution. Now Internet Business Mastery is on a dedicated solution, but that's, because we reached a point in our business where that was an important the consideration to have plenty of money coming in. We've got paying customers. It's probably a good idea to make sure our site is working.
I didn't even know that. Isn't that funny? I didn't realize we were on dedicated.
There you go.
Oh, funny.
So the other time, so when the host tells you, hey, something's got to change here, that's a time. Or when you just start noticing your site's running rather slowly, maybe people are starting to say, hey, your site doesn't run, doesn't load up so quickly for me. Or you notice yourself when you're going to your site, that might be a time to start looking into a new solution. Or before you kind of do your first big launch. Now I say big launch, meaning, if it's just your first product and, you have a relatively small list, not a big deal. But if you're bringing in other joint venture partners, or you're going to be launching to, a few thousand or more people on an email list, it might be time to upgrade to a different hosting so that when you got a whole bunch of focused traffic all coming at once to buy a product, that host continues to work. We created a similar problem for one of our coaching students recently who did a launch. She was one of our VIP coaching students, and we gave her our six-figure product launch program that she followed, and it exactly shows what we do for our launches. And she had email access to us and was shooting questions back and forth, and we helped her set that up. And they set a goal, and within 15 minutes, they had 5 times that goal. They got 5 times their goal coming in, and their site started crawling to a halt. And they had to hurry and get a hold of the host because they just didn't expect that much traffic to come in, and a launch can certainly do that. So those are some of the times to think about when it's appropriate to probably update before, and preferably before you have a big problem with a launch is definitely a good time to think about that.
Well, and we might have wanted to teach that to the Dan Kennedy folks. They're doing a launch right now, and their server crashed. And I'm like, what the? Like, these guys, come on. Here's our 6 figures profit launch. You should read this.
Yeah, when you stand to make a million or 2 or 5,
pay the extra money for a dedicated host.
Spend a few hundred or even a few thousand to make sure it goes smoothly, right? Yeah, definitely. All right, so what do you do then when this happens? Well, you need to move your site to more robust hosting. And that means moving to a dedicated server. And usually, if you're getting a full-on server just to yourself, that can be pretty expensive. It could be $100 or more a month. Now, fortunately, there's this thing called virtual dedicated servers where it's kind of a hybrid between shared and dedicated, but you've got a set number of resources for your site. You're not stealing from anyone else. No one's stealing your resources from you. So in that case, that's what you would want to go ahead and look at as a virtual dedicated server. So if you'd like to know our recommendation, and this is actually the hosting that I run my personal site, jasonvanorden.com on, you can go to biggerhosting.com, and they've got virtual dedicated server, and it's very economical. It's not like you're not going to be spending $100 a month. You'll be spending a little more than shared hosting, but not that much more. And so, how this is going to work is you're going to go there, you're going to register for your new hosting, but then you're going to need to get somebody who's trained in switching a site from one place to another. Because what they're going to need to do is copy all the files over, get it all set up on that new host, and then switch, flip a little switch saying, okay, now my web address, so if it was for our site, now internetbusinessmastery.com needs to point to this other host over here. But that's not done until it's all set up. And there are, various considerations that need to be made to make sure that goes smoothly. So it's definitely something that we recommend going to Rent-A-Coder or Guru.com or Elance.com and just quote that out. And, it might cost you a couple $100 or a few $100 to get somebody to do that. But, that's worth it if your business is growing and you want to keep your visitors and your buyers happy. That's what we would recommend doing. So you can, again, that website is getbiggerhosting.com. And that'll point you in the right direction.
Well, and if you're like most people out on a run or something like that while you're listening, you definitely can go back to the show notes and get that link.
So then there's one more consideration to throw out there, and that is when your site, particularly if you have a show like us, you're more than just a blog and you're also doing audio or video where people are downloading big media files, that's going to be the very first thing that's going to, blow out the bandwidth. And what I mean by that, blow out the bandwidth, people are like, what the heck does that mean? Come on, Jay. In layman's terms. Well, most hosting services have a limit to how much traffic and how much transfer. Every time somebody visits your site and downloads or accesses files or even loads the site, it's the amount of data that's being transferred. And there's a limit on how much in a month or even a day that can, because they have to divvy out the resources to different sites. So what does that mean for your site? Well, you have to be careful when you are working with bigger files like audio or particularly video. And if you store all of your audio and video on the same host as your website itself, well, then, when, say, you release a new episode and all kinds of people are trying to download your brand new episode, it could slow down the rest of your site a bit. And then use up a lot of the bandwidth, and then you might hit a limit there. So one thing you can do is you could consider, if it's simply just because of downloading all the audio and video, you could not move your site to a dedicated host quite yet, and just move your media files to another host, so that when somebody downloads your show from your site, or somebody subscribes to your podcast in iTunes, that it's actually grabbing that video file or audio file from a different location that has a different dedicated set of resources and a different limit on the bandwidth, the amount of transferred and downloads that can happen from your site. So what we use is Libsyn.com. That's Libsyn. And they are one of the earliest podcasting hosts that came up. And you can just get one of their basic podcasting plans. And, right now as of recording this episode, like their simplest plan is $5 a month. And that allows you to put 50 megabytes of new stuff up. But the cool thing is when it comes to download, there's unlimited downloads of your show. So even if your audience grows to be, thousands or tens of thousands of people, everyone can still access your show, and there's not going to be that problem of, hey, you're using too much download transfer or whatever. So that is actually the simpler and the first thing. If that's the issue, if it's all because your show's getting popular, lots of downloads of audio and video, try moving your audio and video over to something like Libsyn, and you can just start doing that with the latest episodes maybe, and pretty soon that'll relieve some of that pressure that your show is putting on your site's host, and then you'll be kosher with your site host, and your site will run more smoothly, and you'll probably get faster downloads for the media files as well. So that works out great too. So again, that resource is Libsyn.com, Libsyn. So 2 solutions for you there, Ben, and anybody else who is running into this problem or is going to run into this problem when you apply all the traffic stuff that we teach. That's an easy way to get to the solution. Again, a great problem to have. So we're going to say congratulations on that, Ben, and let us know how that turns out for you.
Well, and don't make the mistake that we did, having tens of thousands of downloads on a show and you put it on Amazon S3, where you actually pay for the amount of downloads or whatever, but because we saw a humongous, we had to pay a humongous amount because we put it on a media solution that we were paying by the download, or I can't remember what it was, but it went from a small amount per month to an extremely high amount just for a couple of episodes, and we had to move them over to Libsyn really quickly after that. But and that was I can't remember. Somebody was saying, well, let's put them over there. These are a great way to do it. And when you pay for the download and you already have a lot of people downloading it, it can get very costly. So don't make that mistake.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So we've got a great and long, nice,
juicy, substantial,
thick and juicy. Now I'm getting hungry for lunch. I don't know what's going on.
And that's tough. Right, so when you're on it's tough when you're on. Sorry, I said juicy because you're on a juice fast right now, right?
Oh, this is terrible. I need a steak.
That was completely unintentional, I promise.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here it is. Our podcast is at realestateinvestingmastery.com. Sounds familiar. We're number 1 in new and noteworthy in business. We're also number 4 for our very competitive major keyword real estate investing. Why am I writing? I owe most of my success to your Internet Business Mastery Academy and your Traffic Attraction Formula course. My main business is wholesalingleaseoptions.com. I have been running that membership site full-time for a little over 1.5 years. I'm easily making well over 5 figures a month running that site. I remember being stuck in cubicle hell 3 years ago when I started listening to your podcast and became an Academy member. You guys really gave me hope. You opened my eyes to the fact that I could make money in real estate and make money selling information. More money, actually. And most importantly, I think the biggest thing I learned from you is that I needed to find a very specific niche and topic that I was passionate about and focus on it. If I would have picked a generic topic like real estate investing, it would have flopped. But I picked a niche within a niche, wholesaling lease options, and it worked wonders for me. That's from Joe McCall, again, as he said, an Academy member and a Traffic Attraction Formula member. And congratulations, that's awesome. Number 1 in the new and noteworthy in business. That's amazing.
And 5-figure a month membership site. That's nothing to sneeze at either. So good stuff. One more time, you can check out his site at realestateinvestingmastery.com.
And remember, there's a live question and answer call each month for coaching members where you can ask us anything about starting and running your internet business. Not a coaching member yet? No problem. Just visit internetbusinessmastery.com/coaching to get the latest information about our coaching program.
It's time for the Internet Business Quick Tip.
So this episode's quick tip is all about speeding up your downloads. And sorry, Mac users, I believe this is only available for PC. But for those of you who use PC, it's definitely an awesome tool. In fact, it's one of the first recommendations we make to people just because it's so handy and save a lot of time. And yes, it does actually speed up your downloads. Well, how does it do that? Well, to be exact, it opens up multiple connections on the HTTP stack and gives you an IP address of, no, I don't know, actually. I was going to make
going along with you. All right, cool. I've used it for years and I have no clue how it does it.
Something about it, it creates multiple connections, pulls it from multiple places and pieces different pieces together and allows you to resume and all kinds of handy stuff. But you will notice a definite difference in your downloads. So if you want to download this nifty app, you can go to internetbusinessmastery.com/fast downloads, and that's with an S on the end, /fast downloads. I believe they got a free trial you can check out, and then there is a small price to get the official version. But if you think about all the headaches and hassles and time it's going to save you, I would say it's a purchase that's well worth it.
Yeah, I've used this thing for years, and it's funny because I'm so used to it downloading so fast now. It wasn't until I bought a new computer and hadn't installed it that I was downloading even things like Firefox and different things just to reload onto my new computer. And I was like going, I have no patience for this. Like, I have to have this internet download, like this speedy download again, because I'm just going, I can't believe some people wait for this. because it locks up everything else depending on, if you're downloading a video or, just a big 2 gig file, you just have to sit there and wait. I can't even believe that. So you don't with this. That's what's so awesome.
Look at the times we live in. We're like, what? I have to wait a minute for this to download?
I have to wait 38 seconds instead of 15. What?
Yeah, crazy stuff. So check it out, internetbusinessmastery.com/fast downloads.
If you'd like to get dozens of resources such as this one, you can find them in the Internet Business Mastery Academy, along with video tutorials showing you exactly how we use many of them. So to get your risk-free trial membership to the Academy, go to internetbusinessmasteryacademy.com.
You've been listening to the iconoclasts of the 9 to 5, Sterling and Jay. Sterling and Jay invite you to discover one of their most popular video programs ever, the Online Business Freedom Formula. Visit freevideogift.com right now to get instant access to this life-changing video series, pulled directly from the acclaimed Internet Business Mastery Academy membership community. Go now to freevideogift.com. Take control. Make more money. Start an internet business today.